welcome back to the Opinion 2.0 podcast. My name is Yaas, and to the right of me, I have my co-host, Miki.
Yeah, we out here. Welcome back. Thanks for coming along.
Thank you so much for joining us again. So today, topics are not going to be about us, enough about us.
Yes, yes.
I know we're confident people, but we're not full of ourselves. So
100%.
Today we're actually gonna chat about the pyramids a little bit.
Oh, the Pyramids of Giza.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thinking
Interesting.
Pyramids. Well, not necessarily just the pyramids of Giza.
Okay.
Pyramids of Giza, as they are obviously.
That's the thing in Egypt, right? But there's more apparently.
There's more. There's more around the world,
There are more.
and not just isolated to Giza or Egypt itself. Yeah. So and apparently, they're all linked.
Oh wow.
They're all linked in some form or another, because of the architecture of the structure, right? And the way it's built and the actual dimensions, etc., etc., etc. So quite interesting topic. So yeah, let me just get that there.
To start us off, I know that our producer / cameraman editor does not like these topics. So if you hear a bit of a swearing in the background, please be advised that it is him and not us. Look at his face, man. You guys can't see his face, but if you could see his face, it looked like this. And for the audio listeners, I would not know how to explain that to you. So just go watch the video on YouTube then. Okay. That was me giving a thumbs up.
Lol.
I completely forgot about the audio listeners. Oh, wow. My bad.
It's chilled, man. The audio listeners, they can just go to the YouTube afterwards and just watch and figure everything out, you know? You can always skip. Right, so I believe you've done actually, you know quite a bit about these things.
Yeah.
Right, you know quite a bit, and you've researched it before.
Yes.
And tell me a little bit like about how they were built, theories on how it was built.
Ooh.
Because there's a number of them.
There's a lot.
There's a number of
There's
them,
a
yeah,
lot.
I know that much.
Let's go back in time. Come down the rabbit hole with us. Right, so initially, the pyramids were said to be built about 4,500 years ago, according to studies and archaeologists. They cannot be accurate, but this is according to them. So in their opinion, it was built 4,500 years ago, or as the Americans say, 4,500.
4,500 years
You know what I
ago.
mean? 4,500 years ago / 4,500 years ago. The pyramids were built by 100,000 men over a span of 10 to 20 years. Later on, they discovered that it was actually built by 100,000 men or 20,000 men over a shorter time, which didn't make sense to me at first,
Yeah.
right? Because, number one, have you seen the size of those things?
Exactly.
Number two, the quarry in which where the limestone was cut
It's so far.
is about almost 40 kilometers away.
It's so far.
And bear in mind that at the time of Egypt being the thriving kingdom, because the pyramids were built over 3 kingdoms, so 3 kings, 3 pharaohs,
Yeah.
Egypt was an oasis. It was green,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the entire northern Africa, the whole Sahara, or as you say, Sahara,
The Sahara.
was actually green. So that ties into the theory of water usage, right? So you know how water changes the mass of an object to a certain extent? Science. So there was a theory that goes that these particular pyramids or the cut limestone was lifted with a water mechanism. We all know that the Egyptians were advanced with the water mechanism structures, like the shadoof. If you don't know what the shadoof is, there is a video you can go watch on YouTube on what it is. We use it in modern plumbing still today. It was one of the first mechanisms of pumping water out of the earth, like a little well structure, so to say, which didn't require much. It used the pivot, fulcrum, load structure. Technology. If you didn't go to school,
Go to school.
go to school.
Stay in school. Don't do drugs.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So there was a theory that goes they used water, right? Which kind of makes sense to a certain extent, but what doesn't make sense to me is that these things are cut so perfectly, man.
Yeah.
And the compression of it, like there was on Joe Rogan's podcast they spoke about this.
Yeah.
At the time when limestone was actually like used back then, it was actually a shiny substance.
Yes.
So in other words, the pyramids were not brown, and sandy like we see them today. That's because they're suntan.
That's because erosion and weather.
But they were actually like, shiny, like a little, like marble almost.
Yes.
Because marble's also rough until you
polished.
buff it out. Yes. So it's like, I was like, yes.
Yes.
Yes. So anyway, so what gets to me about all these particular theories is that pieces of each part of every theory that I've read up on so far and watched videos on so far do make sense. Like another theory that they speak about is the sound theory. Now, the sound theory is that they used sound to vibrate or change the matter of the particular limestone to lift it. But explain for 10 marks, my bro. How did they get that thing from the ground? Firstly, from the quarry to the pyramid space.
Yeah.
And then up to the roof of the pyramid.
Aliens.
You think it's aliens?
Well, okay, not
Your
actually aliens.
opinion?
No. Okay, in my opinion, right? This is a theory that I've got. Is that human beings today have actually regressed from technology and things like that, and how advanced civilization used to be.
Yeah.
Because if you think of, for example, there's so many mysteries, right?
Yes.
Surrounding those times, like the city of Atlantis as well is another one.
Bro.
Right? And how advanced that city was, right?
Bro.
And look at us now. We're nowhere near that level.
Bro.
So my theory is that human beings actually regressed from being that advanced and came back. So we have a long way to go to reach that, because till today, scientists still can't pinpoint and be exact about many different facts about the pyramids, the city of Atlantis, all the
Aztec structures.
all of those.
Yes.
They still can't pinpoint.
The Great Wall of China, how?
Exactly.
How? You can see it from space, how?
Yeah, but okay, look. The Great Wall of China is a wall that can be built like a wall, but it's just
also
big.
using limestones, bro.
But it's just big. But I mean, look, over time,
Bro.
over dynasties, bruv.
It's limestone.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's
It takes 3 cranes to lift 10 kilos of limestone practically now, because it's not that particular grade of weight. It's outside of the realms of standard construction that we know today.
Yes, no, of course.
So even like Great Walls of China was built with limestone.
Yeah.
So was the Pyramids of Giza. So was the Aztec base. So was part of the Stonehenge. The base of the Stonehenge is also limestone. Easter Islands face statue stuff. Limestone.
Limestone.
How?
All over the world.
All over the world.
All over the
Explain
world.
it in
There's
words, bro.
limestone. It's the same limestone that's
Why?
found all over the world. How did this limestone get all over?
What do you believe? Me, bro. Yeah, I'm not pointing at your email. I'm talking to the audience. Okay, but man was like,
Huh? Me? I don't actually give a shit. They're just there.
So you were saying, so like the unexplained things about the...
Exactly. And scientists today still can't figure a lot of those things out, right? So to me, it's like we lost that knowledge.
Okay.
We lost that knowledge and we regressed because we don't have that knowledge any longer, and it's withheld from us. I do believe though, in my opinion, that some people have access to certain things and certain knowledge bases, right?
Yes.
That they don't share with the world because that will let them lose power.
Power. Yeah, look, I mean, it's inevitable.
Knowledge is power.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And
where does that saying come from? You know, Plato created that saying, knowledge is power.
Well,
And Plato was one of the greatest and most feared leaders. People think of him as a philanthropist and a philosopher. However, he was actually an emperor. That's why he was so feared. You know, because I mean the Greeks used marble. They never used limestone.
Yeah.
But marble is way more destructible. Like you can break it easier than what you could. It's not easy to break, but it's
not
easier
easy,
than
but it's
limestone.
easier than the limestone. Yeah.
So
the longevity is not there. Not
that
the same.
that theory does make sense, though. It kind of makes me think of Nikola Tesla, right? So I don't know. For those who don't know, Nikola Tesla was one of the first scientists that actually created electricity and self-sustaining electricity based on energy and frequencies.
I do believe that's where the company name of Elon Musk came from.
Yes. So Nikola Tesla in himself was what we would call one of these advanced humans from that particular society
era.
that didn't regress. And most of the things that he created back then, was outside of what people believed, right? It was weird. So like he created the first self-sustaining light bulb, like electricity. I mean, and battery
Apparently,
cells as well.
on that, actually, we're still Gucci.
Yeah.
On that, there was an African guy.
Yes.
There was an African guy who also created I think it was a type of fuel,
Okay.
right? Or learned how to use water as fuel or something.
Yes,
And
like a
man's-
hydrogen or space.
Yes,
I
and man's
know.
has gone missing apparently.
Yeah, look, you know, there's actually right now there's a BMW that is fueled by hydrogen. Do you know that BMW released this recently? So it's not electricity, it's not petrol,
It's not petrol.
it's not fuel, it's not crude oil, it's hydrogen. We don't want to speak too much on this because again, it's just opinions. Like
yeah.
we're saying what we think it could be. If you have,
It's starting to get deep.
yeah, 100%. If you have any opinions or any ideas on everything we're saying, if you agree or you don't,
If you
the
have
comment
any
section
knowledge-
is your place.
Yeah, look, just to let you know, we're not scholars of these things. We don't go out and go study these things and all of
Yeah,
that.
we
It's
don't.
just, we go on the little information that we do know, right?
What has piqued
and
our
yeah,
curiosity.
yeah, so we might hear something or find out, discover something, with regards to a certain thing, for example, like pyramids, etc. And we go off what we know and we formulate our opinions off that. Not to say that we learned and scholars and we're going to go study the shit and, in depth.
And also, we're not trying to push this on anybody else's narrative, right? We're not trying to
Exactly.
push a narrative or trying to get anybody in trouble or exposed, right? So when you speak about these things, you have to be very careful and look at your perspective on them, right? So my perspective is not something that I would say is controversial because I am taking pieces of evidence and advice and gathering data from different
It's based
sources.
off data, 100%.
Right, and I think that the one thing that actually clicked off now when you spoke about the scholar thing was that there are people that do this.
Yes, exactly.
There was a video you sent me,
Oh yes,
the Instagram reel
about geometry.
yes,
the geometry.
the geometry.
Oh, that's insane.
That was
That is
wild.
insane. Yeah.
In one of our coming episodes, we're going to have an
We'll
episode
go
on
into that,
geometry,
yeah.
and we're going to
Find
actually
it,
draw
yeah.
it. We're going to get a whiteboard, and we're going to try and draw the diagrams that we saw on this
That
video.
will blow your mind. Absolutely
It will
blow your mind.
right? It's based off relativity to the equator.
Yes, the
And
equator.
location of these major places. We're talking about Pyramids of Giza, the Great Wall of China, the
Yes.
Aztecs structure, certain locations in the world that humans built.
Yeah, so just as a what's name, it's basically the structures can all be found basically from the pyramids of Giza. If there's an angle drawn, I think it's 30 degrees. 30 degrees from the equator.
Yes.
Around the world, you basically like draw another equator, so to say, around the globe,
Yeah.
and you will find on that line all those points.
Yes.
You'll find all the structures you're speaking about.
Yes.
So how is it that accurate?
Explain for 10 marks, bro.
How is it that accurate? And that's why I say also that those structures and all of those things were put up so long ago. So there was some sort of communication that was happening across the globe.
And it came at a similar time of certain dynasties, right?
Exactly.
So if you look at the timestamps of when the Egyptian Empire built those pyramids versus the Mexican Aztec Empire versus the Chinese Empire, they were building these things at similar times and they overlapped, me, bro.
Yeah.
So it's like, how did they communicate? And also, was it one person that did the math? You know what I
That's
mean?
the thing, yeah. How is it so accurate? That's what I'm
How?
asking. How is it so accurate?
Our math now can comprehend it, but our minds cannot.
And just look at the divide in civilization today as well, right? The countries across continents and so on don't communicate like they did back then. Like everybody was working together. The world was... I believe the world could have highly likely been a better place at that time.
100%.
Because people got along a lot better.
100%.
And now it's like...
was trade. It was trade, right?
That's the thing.
We have this, you have that. I've got leaves, you've got grass.
And now there's just too much politics in the way.
And I'm like, everybody just wants oil.
Yeah, there's
know
too
what I
much
mean?
politics in the way now. It's
Talking
ridiculous.
about oil, like not straying too far away from the Pyramids of Giza and the dynamics and locations of these particular worldly structures, but did you know that Africa as a continent could self-sustain itself?
Yes.
There are countries in Africa, and this is excluding South Africa. I'm talking like Nigeria and those countries.
Yeah, there's more than one country in Africa.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's countries in Africa that have self-sustaining resources like oil. There's crude oil. There is coal. There's minerals. There's crop. There's so much things, and it made me think of that movie 2012. Right? I don't know if you ever watched it. For those at home who did watch it, it was a movie about the end of the world and how they built this human ox, and it ended up sailing to the Cape Agulhas, the Cape Point, because South Africa doesn't have any tectonic plates underneath it. It's the only.
No.
It's not.
It's so. That's very wrong.
There's no tectonic plates near the southern part of Africa.
No, that's very wrong. There's tectonic plates all around the world.
But
so we are, as within South Africa is situated more or less centered on a tectonic plate.
So we on one, not in between one. That's why we don't feel
the natural disasters, earthquakes, etc., they happen where two tectonic plates meet.
Oh.
So that's why you'll see it basically like a earthquake. You'll see the ground would. If you actually see video footage of an earthquake happening, are you okay? You're having an earthquake there.
Internalized.
So you'll see the ground would lift. It will like basically come. It will lift up like that, and then it will split apart and create a gap. That is because of the two tectonic plates moving over each other or knocking into each other. That's what causes your earthquake.
I didn't do geography.
We had a earthquake in the ocean off our shores not so long ago.
Yes, I remember that.
Right?
I remember that.
I was awake at the time, bro.
I know.
It was scary.
It was wild, eh?
It was mad. Well, I suppose it was the tremor that we felt.
We
it
felt
wasn't
the tremor, but it hit
earthquake.
Sierra's harder.
Yeah.
Sierra's actually felt it like the world was shaking in Sierra's. Like people's cupboards were shaking.
Okay, for me, I was standing. What was I doing? I was having a smoke.
Yes.
Right? I was having a smoke, and the window was open, obviously, because I was standing by the window. And it sounded like an 18-wheeler truck.
Yes.
Was driving past, and maybe it like crashed and it was sliding across the ground or whatever.
Yeah.
And it felt like that, and I was like, is that coming towards me or what the? And then because obviously look, that tremor is traveling, right? And that's basically what happened. And it felt like there was something in the ground coming like towards me, like a truck or something that was scraping around the ground and so on. And everything was shaking in the house, bruv. The glasses, everything.
I remember that.
Like,
yeah.
What?
I think Isra was about 8 months old, so it wasn't too long ago. It was just over a year ago because Isra just turned 2. But I remember that.
When was that?
That was last year sometime.
Was it last year?
It was last year.
It was last year.
It was about last. It was the year before. Year before that. Well, my brain is hazy because time moves differently.
2021.
Yeah, it was just after Isra was born. Yeah, I remember that. That's wild though. But I mean, if you think about it, no, just look at now that we're talking about like earthquakes and shit. Like just think about it like this: all the countries that have those major earthquakes. Look at Japan. Japan is a country that is split into 4 major parts. Countries in the world that have majority of the earthquakes always have breaks in between them. And in the countries that are like not so far apart, like the US, they've got cyclones and stuff like that.
Yes.
Right? So I don't know, man.
The bulk of natural disasters are caused from earthquakes.
Yes.
Like, for example, tsunamis, all of those things, that's from an earthquake that happens in the ocean. So because of that split in the ground, that it creates a ripple.
Yeah.
Basically, but obviously it's bigger than a ripple, and from there it basically just builds and builds and builds towards the shore. You have your tsunami, and it smashes.
Tsunami drop, boom. A young nostalgic moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, look,
that's another rabbit hole. Eh? Keep that rabbit hole close along.
I think we have to be very smart.
We have to plug music, bruv. We have look. I think we're gonna have to do a thing on music. Well done. So
nice stretch.
I almost heard you fart there. Okay.
But the mics didn't.
The mic won't pick it up.
They don't know. don't know. But yeah, look, there's so much things that one wants to speak about when it comes to like tectonic plates and all those things. And I think that we need to look at what we know,
Yeah.
right, versus what we don't, right? What we know is what the media tells us. And because he's coming from someone that actually wanted to be a journalist, the media doesn't portray 70% of the things that is actually in the
truth.
paper. Yeah, 100%. So I think it's important to know. What is that sound?
Hey.
For those who don't know, there's probably some guy burning outside.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to the Cape Flats. There's always that one guy with a VVL. Somewhere. Or on the VTech.
I was about to say that.
One of the two. Or a guy with a polo with a downpipe.
Yeah. True. But the thing is with the polos and shit like that, it's like, I don't know. Not really much of a car guy. Never really was.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, look, the last thing I want to speak about before we wrap up is Elon Musk made a tweet about how he wants to buy Coca-Cola. Wait, it gets more interesting. Because he wants to return cocaine back into Coca-Cola.
Yes. Because that's how it was.
So I did research on Coca-Cola.
Yes, bruv. That was the thing.
That's why people kept buying it. Because it was as addictive as Coca-Cola was addictive as cocaine, right? And now it's just as addictive because of sugar.
No, so apparently there was cocaine in it. That's how people got addicted to it.
Yes.
And that's how they
kept the customer base. That's how they kept the customer base.
That's how they became as big as they are today.
And then many years later, Cristiano Ronaldo during the World Cup or during the Euros decides to move the Coke bottle and their share price just
plummeted. Yeah.
That was wild.
That's crazy to think that one person carries so much weight.
So much influence.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next week's episode, right? Next week's episode will be very interesting. And I think that we want to hear from you.
Yeah, I think that's very important.
Give us feedback on what you want to hear us talk about. If today's episode was interesting, let us know. If it wasn't, also let us know. Please subscribe to all our platforms. We've got YouTube, we've got Rumble, we've got TikTok.
There's TikTok.
There's Instagram.
Yeah.
And most importantly, we've also got audio pods that will be up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all the works. For those who want to listen to us and not see our fantastic faces. So yeah, look, the link will be in the description here underneath. On the screen, you will now see the email address where you can send feedback to, the opinion2.0podcast@gmail.com. You can reach out to me on Instagram or on TikTok at MickWallZA. You can reach out to Yasin on Instagram or TikTok at MyJacobZA.
Yes.
And then most importantly, like the video, subscribe to our page, comment on the video, and turn on that notification bell. Thank you so much for tuning in to an episode 002 of The Opinion 2.0. We'll see you next week from a different location.
Hey.
Peace.